Hey folks, how's it going? Nice to see you again. And we're live, that's right. It's a pleasure to see you here today. My name's Dustin Cormier, and you are watching How to Rock Spirit. Whew. Now, today's episode is going to be on the combination of Libra Sun in the Western chart with the year of the horse in the Chinese chart. Of course, we know that the year of the horse can appear in the year sign, the month pillar, or the day pillar, or the hour pillar. And you can see the expression of the animal coming through. I say it's, for me personally, it's mostly comes through the year and the day. I also see it a lot in the month. The different pillars mean different things to you in your life. But for the newbie person, just feel free to come just if you're in the year of the horse, and if you've got the Libra Sun, of course. Now, I've been here since like 4 p.m. and it's like 11 p.m. now, doing a super long video today. We did a video talking about the year of the horse coming through the rulership of Venus-ruled signs. We did it with the intention of talking about the water Pancha-Tattva rulership, which is something that Ernst Wilhelm talks about in his Graha Sutras book. So we included Cancer in that. So if you want to see Cancer Sun, Libra Sun, Taurus Sun in the year of the horse, feel free to check out that video. It turned out to be like 4 hours long. It was a long one. It's just how I've been working lately. It's just this big, long marathon shot. As I always like to say, I guess I'll just, I'll show you guys the thing. As I said, mi nombre es Dustin Cormier. And I always like to show kind of the energy of the person who's talking about the things. Because, anytime anybody gives you knowledge, it's good to know the nature of the person who's giving you the knowledge. I'm a Leo ascendant, Scorpio sun, and Sagittarius moon. Year of the goat, month of the boar, day of the horse. So I've got a little bit of this horse energy coming through in the way that I relate to people. It's this kind of heart-centered, hi, I'm this horse guy, what's up? And I'm excitable and I really speak from the heart. I speak bluntly about what I think is my thoughts on a situation. When it comes to relationships, I'm just very blunt in regard to dealing with people and how I deal with people. I think that the day pillar really deeply expresses externally the nature of the animal. It's like I'm a metal goat. I'm born in the year of the metal goat, 1990. And that little metal goat, like a whole childhood psychology of metal goat themes, is now coming through the flower of the day of the horse. And so I express the horse, but the house is metal goat shaped, if you kind of figure that, yeah, let's get started. My interest, usually what I've been trying to do lately, is talk a little bit through this book to get a little gumball, a little piece of the nature of this sign combination, and then I'm going to dwell on it myself, talk about the themes in my own knowing, and then eventually in this video we're going to do readings from 3 different authors, 4 including this one, about their interpretation of the year of the horse coming through the Libra Sun energy. To just give us a little taste of it, this comes from the Little Giant Encyclopedia, the Zodiac, the Diagram Group. It's just some random book or whatever. I don't even know where I found this one. I think I found it at a bookstore. Libra horses are level-headed and realistic, yet surprisingly indecisive. Not as independent as other horses, these people are honest about how important their loved ones are to them. And that is something that all the horses have. We kind of talked about it in the bigger video there. The horse is, it's yang fire, which means it loves to go out on a limb. It loves to use, it's good with skills. The yang animals tend to be very like good at like, oh, I don't know what this is, but I'm going to try it. And then they just go out and bang, they try whatever they kind of feel. And, you know, I mean, the Venus in this person and the moon is really going to show their skill, their capacity to adapt at whatever it is that they're learning to try to do. But either way, everyone kind of feels like when you're in a group with a few people and you've got a horse in the group, the horse might be the one that's just like, am I going to do it? Am I going to do it? No one else is going to do it. All right, I'm going to do it. The horse has that kind of like mentality. So the horse is kind of led by its heart. It's very much an excitable energy that kind of doesn't like to bullshit. It likes to be just fully out. It kind of leans on the fact of its own honesty. Tries to just be honest in all its undertakings whenever it can. So when you're talking to them, any horse, you're probably going to get a real feel for their spontaneous impression of something in any moment. They're just going to tell you kind of what they're thinking about the reality that you're talking about, and they'll try to express it. They'll read the gesture of you. They'll consider the context of the person that they're talking to and not just the subject that they're talking about. That's something that's just in their brains. They're very empathic to the other person. And so is Libra, of course. Now, Libra brings a level-headedness to the horse, where the horse is just full of bluster and ready to rock and roll. I wanted to say that, yeah. The horse itself considers its support from its friends to be very important. Being this yang person, it likes to go out on these crazy limbs, but in order for them to do that, they just love to have the ability to do that. So they lean on the support of others regarding where they're going to attack with this heading thing that they like to do, the spontaneous sort of thing. They don't like to do it without the guidance of others. You know, like, okay, what am I doing here, guys? What am I doing? Am I going to do this thing? And everyone else will be like, okay, left, left, left. No, 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 right, right, right. Like, they'll really listen to that kind of directive. If everyone's pushing them towards doing that thing, then they'll do it. But if they're doing it by themselves, they often feel like they don't want to really... I mean, these people can be very dependent. The horse can be very independent, is what I meant to say. They can beat to their own, they can dance to their own drum, listen to their own drummer. And so they can be very offbeat too. But the horse generally does best when they have the support of a group of people sort of leading them, kind of like they're this head thing. Well, I mean, this heart-centered thing really that just goes way out there into the reality, and it's just like, oh, I'm doing this thing, and everyone's like, okay, now, you know, like if they're on a radio or something, they're good with that kind of guidance, especially if they're like a diplomat, you know, and the Libra is this particularly, you know, diplomat-centric character. Libra Sun, we talked about how the Libra Sun is, I'm a Tropical Vedic guy, and I think in terms of planetary friendships and enemies. Venus is kind of an enemy to the sun because the sun takes care of its own interests first as the king. The king needs to do what's best for the kingdom, for its inspiration. It likes the sun, anybody's sun, does best in signs that cater to personal self-intuition. Not so much thinking about what the other person's wants and needs are. Sun does well in Cancer, Leo, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Pisces, anything ruled by Jupiter, Mars, and the Sun and the Moon. Those are four of the really kind of planets that are interested in oneself and the connection to the world from the sense of the self. The sun even does good in Jupiter because Jupiter's worldly wise and it knows how its role can be expressed through some cultural vantage and to take advantage of that. The sun in Venus-ruled signs is now thinking about, like, in order to express my energy best, I have to listen to the other person. and it's not the best place for the sun. I'm just noticing that we have no viewers here. I still feel like I should sign in just in case anybody does come on and feels like making a comment. I should say that anybody who's ever watching my channel, I do try to make it a kind of a community vibe. As I always say, spirit is so much more than any singular point on a grid. Me being that singular point. So if anybody feels like making a contribution to the conversation, I'm going to load this up. There's going to be no comments. Should have known. That's okay. I got no viewers, so duh. People keep coming in and out. I'm pretty late. I'm running super late tonight, so that's my excuse and hope for the fact that I don't have any viewers right now. Okay. So, the Libra Sun is not the hottest place for the sun. The sun is debilitated in Libra. It's exalted in Aries when it's thinking about its own, the projections of the deepest spiritual sense of the nature. The sun is the Atma. The sun is like past life metaphysical energy, karma energy, coming through in its rawest. It's the whole self. It's the whole integrated self understood from the egocentric persona. It's like you as an ego integrating everything coming in and saying, how do I project this thing that I've been my whole life to the best place that I can? How do I take this energy and throw it in a direction that will make it that's economical, in a way that will be something worth sacrificing for, that I know will draw me the farthest in the long run? What's the ultimate direction that my life seems to be drawing me toward? And it's like the karmic energy coming through. That's like the sun. So that karma energy is good at something. And when the sun is in Aries, where it's exalted, the sun is acting from the place of that awareness of how the self can bring its skills to others in the most effective and efficient way. It's looking at the self and thinking, how do I make this thing fit my, it's more like, how do I make the world fit this thing? That's what Aries thinks. This world is my sandbox. I have a nature and it has to cater to me. Libra, where the sun is debilitated, the sun doesn't treat this energy, this metaphysical energy coming like from karma, from your past. Libra doesn't see that as being important. Libra has an intuitive sense that thinks everybody's got this karmic energy coming through, but it doesn't matter what their individual nature is. What matters is what needs to be done, what everybody needs to do in order to be happy for the group. It's not a matter about your individual desires. It's a matter of what we all need to do collectively to advance farther. It's like a Confucianism. It's like what I always think of Libra. So, with that being said, the sun is that self. And so it has a harder time dealing with this nature. But if you're a Libra sun, you have to accept that this is a part of your metaphysical framework, is that you would be looking at yourself from this objective standpoint. And you got to deal with it. It's your nature, like I got Venus in Virgo, and that's where Venus is debilitated, and it sucks. But if I try to run from it and treat my Venus as if it was somewhere else, then I'm going to miss out on the gifts that come from having Venus in Virgo. Even though it's debilitated, I've still got to deal with my Venus as it is. I can't fake it. I can't pretend that it's in Pisces and just love any person, because that's not what pours unconsciously out of me. It's the same thing with you as a Libra sun. You got to just be with what is. Be with what karma has been presented to you as this Libra sun person. Now consider that the strength of your Venus is very much going to show the open channel, whether you have an open channel for your sun to express this Libra sun energy. For what it's worth. You might have a very strong sun by Shadbala standards. Maybe you've got the sun in the 10th house. Maybe you're a Capricorn ascendant and your sun is in Libra in the 10th house, which is a beautiful place for it. It's bound to attract activity, which is perfectly fitted to the purpose of your Libra sun. So don't think just because your sun is debilitated that it's some bad, some gross thing that you can't deal with. Everybody has these parts of their chart that they have to deal with. And I would take it as a challenge. That's, maybe not even a challenge, but it's just some part of your nature that has to be adjusted with all the other blissful gifts given from your karma in the past. So, with all of that being said, the sun in Libra is a person who's diplomatic, who's bureaucratic, who tries to look at what everybody else's interests are kind of before its own. For better or worse, and you got to deal with that. Coming through the nature of the horse, this is someone who is looking for everyone's better interests, and they're interested in finding out everyone's better interests by being blunt, by being adventurous, by sticking to their own path, being guided by their nose towards what it is that they want to do with their life and their research. They find their research in their own sort of spontaneous, offbeat ways. They're not chained by anybody else, but the Libra here will bring an extra dependence to the horse. The Libra being it's not driven like Aries is from within itself to be completely independent. Like an Aries horse is just the most independent person that there is, because the horse is very independent naturally. It's very yang and likes to break through its own walls. But the horse is yin fire, energetic body, and yin earth, energetic body. Those are like its hidden stems. So the horse does it. What that means is that the horse does like to have centers of people who it kind of depends on. The horse in general likes to have several groups of people who it can constantly bounce to try out and express its different personalities and who it wants to be. It has this group of people who are like its churchgoers, who it's like, I like to be here because it's calm, it's serene, and it's socially refined, but then they'll also have their rock and roll friends who like they go to, and it's like, these are the people I hang out with when I want to have a beer and rock and roll and kind of let loose a little bit. And then they'll have some friends who are just like the nerdy book club, who they're where the horse person gets like a cerebral center for themselves. So they like to have these various groups. They're not attached or dependent on any one, but they're dependent on the network of freedom that this variety provides. That's very much a horse thing. Now, the Libra here is a little bit more dependent than the usual horse. The Libra person really leans on the opinions of others. It leans on social approval. It looks for others' grace in their eyes to feel its own grace. And they really dig into learning about other people. And they learn about other people and learn how they can be a partner and be privy to those other people's skills. They never really look at their own skills. They're much better at learning, being a servant in a way to other people, learning what a whole group of people can do together, and then bringing them together through some service, through some effort, through some business deal. Whether it's a skill, or whether it's just the gift of gab, or whether it's like aligning themselves to some company, learning the protocols and the manifesto and the intentions of that company, getting a sense of what that company is, and then going to people and saying, I'm an ambassador for this company, and I think your company would do great with our company, and here's why. The Libra, that's like the kind of business that the Libra Sun sort of tends itself to. So that was me talking rather informally about this subject. Now, as I said, after I've given my own little spiel, we are going to talk about other authors' interpretations of this particular sign combination, so that you can, so that we have a bit more data outside of just my opinion. These books tend to be very good, always pretty accurate and on point. But I always like to say, A, that you got to consider all the things in the chart. When you're reading the nature of the personality of the people here, it's a cookbook thing. I mean, like, we're talking about just reading only the year sign, which is only 1/4, like, it's only one piece of your Chinese chart. The sun, it's a big part, but it's only a piece of your chart. You know, we're not considering the ascendant sign, the moon sign, the Venus sign, especially for this Libra sun. Because where the Venus sign is and the strength of the Venus sign is going to define the channel through which the sun expresses itself. Because wherever the sun is, the ruler of the sign that the sun is in is the channel for the sun's expression. So the sun's already a little weak in Libra. It's not at its best. But that's only one description, by the way. You know, just because it's debilitated in Libra doesn't mean that there couldn't be a positive planet aspecting it. Could be with, you know, like Jupiter or something. If the sun is in Libra, but it's with, I mean, Saturn's a funny place for this type of person, because Saturn is exalted in Libra. So the Saturn would really sap the sun energy here, although they would still do very well. I mean, it's tough because the sun would be really hurting at that point. Not only is it debilitated in Libra, but also Saturn is there. That'd be a really harsh placement, you know? So all these factors make up the power that the sun has the ability to express for itself, as well as where the Venus is, because that is the nature of how the sun is going to project and express itself, leaning as it does on Venus because it's in the sign of Libra. It's really a tropical Vedic vibe and interpretation of the sun in Libra. But it's, of course, it's true, because like an astrology chart is like a spider web with all these fanned out points that connect in the center, and the center is you, and the center is essentially the sun, but not just that, you know, like the center is you, your chart. Every planet being in another sign is like a limb that's expresses way out there, but it comes in the center of like where your planets are and where the sun is and where the planets rotate around the sun. Like, you know, if you've got Mars in Libra, it's going to change your ability to communicate and express these business contracts that you do. If you've got Sun and Mars in Libra, it's going to change the nature of the Libra in you, you know. So just keep all these things in mind. Now, this first reading that we're going to get a little bit of extra knowledge from comes from the Handbook of Chinese Horoscopes by Theodora Lau and Laura Lau. So you can see this book is all super gnarly because I've read it so much. Now, I like reading this book first because it's the second smallest. That first one is really, really small little gumball. Now, this is still pretty small, and this is a gumball of the essence of the character of the Libra and the horse. What does the horse bring to the Libra, and what does the Libra bring to the horse? Libra is even more sunny and kind-humored here, and will express itself expertly when linked to the quick and ever-youthful horse. The Libra horse will be less selfish and more cooperative. So that's what Libra brings to the horse. But while he is a vacillating diplomat when it comes to the affairs of others, he can be a keen negotiator on his own behalf. And in spite of his unpredictability and his apparent glibness, he will be a capable producer who knows on which side his bread is buttered. That's a cool way to put it. This person is forever seeking and finding greener pastures. No one need be too concerned about this person's welfare. It's true. It's especially true if this person has a strong moon and a strong Venus. the moon is very important for the Libra horse, because part of their strength is the fact that from the beginning, from their childhood, they've probably been very interested in what makes them passionate, what makes them feel impassioned. And a Libra horse probably won't get them into any business, any career that they don't like, that they don't feel good about. It's possible that they would do that if they have social pressure from their parents or from their friends or from society, who tells people to just get into college or university as soon as you get out of high school so you can do well with your fancy credentials. The Libra can really be taken in by all these pressures because they want to look graceful in the eyes of, like, they want to look good to social, to the framework that tends to come out in whatever time they're living in. So it's very important for this person, A, to have a good moon and a good Venus, because these will lead the Libra to listen to their own intuition of whether they are happy or not, or whether this path that they're walking down is truly going to be a life path that guides them to highest fulfillment. The Libra here being ruled by Venus, Venus is a lord of the earth. Venus is a lord of the passions. Everyone knows Venus is that almost erotic. It's like, an acceptance of what is in the unconscious. The Libra person will know that in themselves and as well as other people. And they will be they're good psychologists, and they're good people knowers, and they're good at just knowing their own passion as well as others, typically. But if this person has a weak Venus and a weak moon, usually they can get away with having one good one and one not so good one. As long as one of these are good, then this person will listen to their intuition. And either way, whether they have a good one or not, you, as a Libra, in any regard, even without the horse, should listen to your intuition. Listen to when you think your job or the life that your parents are putting up and expecting you to, to live. Really deeply consider whether it's really truly the life that you want to live in an emotional center. Because you're going to be living that life your whole life. And if, the horse Libra in particular is deeply, they live for their inspiration, for the heart, for the feeling good in the moment and expressing it spontaneously, I also wanted to speak to this idea of them being a vacillating diplomat. Libra is a good diplomat, and Libra is good at knowing the nature of various people in a group, in any group, in a work organization of any sort. They tend to know the emotional natures of the people, the skills of all the people, and how to bring them together towards certain contracts. Like, it's like you've got an artisan, leather guy, and like blacksmith. I'm thinking like Renaissance for some reason. Leather guy, blacksmith, tailor, a magician, like they'll bring like this group of people together and they'll say, okay, magic guy, why don't you cast a crowd spell here, and then leather guy, why don't you go and like get some bears over there and like get us some pelts and stuff, and we need somebody to be making food or something, so maybe instead of that, leather guy, maybe you can do the food so that the blacksmith can keep the forge hot. They'll know when to use which person for which place. They're a good diplomat and a people organizer in that way. Or especially if they have to be like, if you do this, leather guy, then this person will get you some leather pelts that you can use really well. But you got to do this task for them, and they will be rewarded with your capacity as a leather guy. I don't know. I'm going too far with this, but you see what I mean. They're good at wheeling and dealing, taking various groups with their organizations, resources, whatever, bringing them together so that everyone can see the positive benefit that can come from the deals that they're able to make. This is very much a Libra thing. And they're good at that so long as it doesn't come to what they're not good at is when you have 6 different opinions about where to go forward, the Libra horse is not a good, like, they can project far into the individual wants and needs of the individual. And when they're side by side by the individual, they're good at, like, a psychologist. Like, what do you want in your life? What's your Venus? You know, the sun in Libra sees their Venus and other people's Venus. But when this person says, or when there's like 4 different people or 6 different people, and this person says, I want our group to go in this direction. And the Libra says, I understand. I can completely sympathize with that directive motive. That's completely logical. And then they go to the other person, and the other person says, I don't like his thought. I really think that our group should be going south, where there's more of this going on, or where this might be happening. And the Libra horse talks and says, okay, I mean, you know, that really kind of messes his thing up, and his thing has a lot of points to bring to your thing, and you should really consider that. And then the person's like, yeah, I guess I should, shouldn't I? And then they go to the 3rd person and the 4th and 5th and 6th, and they say, I really relate with everybody. Now, if they've built themselves up to be some kind of diplomat where they have to figure out what's best for everybody, they might take the bureaucratic route and say, this is something which is best for everybody, but which is actually impractical. They might not be thinking about the ground reality. They might not be thinking about the content of their decision. All they're thinking about is, this is going to make everybody happy. And everyone will see that. Everyone will see, okay, so the Libra person here, the Libra horse, is trying to project far in a way that might make everybody happy, but it might not be actually realistic. And so they might not actually make a choice. You know, this person who assumes themselves to be some clever diplomatic, democratic wheel and deal type of personality, they're good up to the point where they have to make a decision that everyone is going to criticize them for the decision going forward if it doesn't work out in the best way. They're going to think themselves until the dogs come home, and they probably might not ever make a decision. They're a bit of a fence sitter in this regard, you know? They're good when they're like, when they choose a role for themselves, I'm a Republican, and this person's a Democrat. Now, this is their opinion, and they're saying that against me because they're a Democrat and I'm a Republican. But me as a Republican, I'm going to say this, you know? And when there's no, like, when they have a set role and they're talking about their role in, as everyone understands it, you know, like as their company or as their political party is, it has an agenda and a set intention, and the Libra horse will say, well, this is ours. We know yours. You're the other guy, and you guys have that, but this is ours, and we have this. For that, you know, they can go forward with that kind of, like, public, beautiful persona who's just so good at being graceful and talking with people. It just sucks for them when they have to be the hard guy that makes somebody feel bad, you know, and you need those people. And they're not it. So there are potentials for good qualities here, just like every sign combination has the potential for some good. Usually it's a little good with a little bit of bad. It's just the nature of reality. We're all a bunch of squares, you know. We're all either a bunch of cubes, spheres, or triangles. And there's going to be moments in life where if you're a sphere, you're going to meet triangle-shaped doorways. It's just the nature of life, you know. That's a good little metaphor. I'm going to remember that. We're all just a bunch of squares, man. Now, I'm just do a little peeky-poo, see if we got anyone saying anything. Anybody who does watch, feel free to make any comments as we go. This next reading comes from Cosmic Astrology by Mantak Chia. Mantak Chia is a cool, great teacher who's combining the knowledge of the West, Western esotericism, with the Chinese. He's more into, he's Chinese himself. He's more into the Chinese healing arts. And he's very good with them. Now, this is Mantak Chia describing Libra month combined with the dog year. The key word for Libra is steady. It's like that level-headedness. The key word for the horse is command. Kind of an interesting combination of keywords. If the Libra is trying to make everything steady, it's tough to do that when you're being commanding. And it's tough to command and to say, all right, enough of this, troops. Now we've got a direction that we've all got to go. The horse. The horse gets lots of experiences, and it's just this sort of heart-centered thing, and thinks like, all right, everybody, well, we're all feeling from our hearts. We got to go in some direction. Let's go in this direction. If you've got a Libra who's trying to keep things steady and stabilizing things, it's going to be tougher for him to use his power of command. Although it's doable. This is somebody who keeps things steady by commanding. This is the Libra who keeps things steady by the horse's penchant for commanding, or for being commanding, or demanding also, you know. The horse just loves to give directives that it feels from its heart that in this moment, this is what needs to be done, you know. We might even say that the Libra person would be good as someone not at the top of a pyramid, not the top executive boss guy. This guy might be better as someone as like a second-hand man, or like, I mean, please understand that I'm thinking in regards to archetypes here. You might be somebody who's a leader who could get the top of the fucking world, for all I know. What I'm trying to say is that this Libra personality, with the sun coming through, not from the king center, remember the sun's debilitated in Libra, so this type of person is good as someone who's stabilizing the body of a group or an organization, consciously stabilizing it and commanding people to keep this thing stabilized. And once they're accepting of their given role, they can fucking fly at it, you know, because everyone's actions can be used positively somewhere once that sphere finally finds that round hole, you know. Libra combined with horse. Tugging at its reins, the Libra makes an effort to calm the horse. Generally, this takes time and a lot of effort. The eventual goal is a respectable member of society, or, barring that, a bit of taming. It is not a matter of the Libra side being bothered by the unpredictability of the horse. The Libra-horse combinations are kind of a push and pull dialectic. Libras are noble and seek equilibrium. Libras want harmony. Countering this is a horse personality that is defiant and stubborn. To the contrary, Libras rather approve of that. What is desired is a willingness to be a part of the establishment when necessary, so the material possessions sought after by the Libra are not lost. Horses, when properly controlled and educated, have a wonderful, stately, and almost majestic presence. This is very much desired and usable by the Libra aspect, definitely. They are agile and have an ability to advance towards success with an ease not granted to most. Of course, the fact that the Libra horse is not the least bit lazy and is willing to work hard for that success, that doesn't hurt either. I know a Libra horse, and he's one of the hardest working people I know. In addition, these people have an air of confidence and charm made all the better by doing well before audiences. This combination has a ticket to ride, and the ticket is first class. They have a destiny that includes not only fame, but also fortune if the jumps are made well. Luck is on the side of these fortunate individuals in many cases, because they seem to appear just in time at the precise place that they were supposed to be, especially if their Venus is well placed. If their Venus is well placed, then they're going to intuit where that luck comes in, where they're supposed to be in that right moment. Romance. Libra horses do like to be noticed when they go places. Many have refined the fine art of flirting, and this comes easy because there is something highly appealing about most members of this combination. They tend to be a bit of work to have as a partner for these reasons, and because they are lacking somewhat in the giving department. This latter point in particular can be an issue. The Libra horse tends to march to the beat of their own drummer. In some cases, it is the beat of his own brass band. That's funny. In terms of a partner, this means that they choose someone who has something that they like or appreciate. It is not a matter of appearance. Looks are not a particularly important factor here. Principles, ideals, or material possessions are really more important to this person than appearance. Shall we say the expression of a certain integrity that the person has developed? They look for an integrity in their partner, a sort of refinement of a sort. I could see the Libra horse being into that kind of thing. I always like to say about the horse that they are the middle of the animal scheme. It starts at rat. Rat is like very, very yin. And the opposite rat is, you climb up spring and the wood energy, and then it gets to the hot summer energy, and the horse is right there at the top. Snake, horse, and goat all have this propensity to be very romantic. They're like this horny teenager vibe, because when you think of the growth of a plant, the Chinese think of the growth of a plant, the stem and the root is winter. The stem of the plant that grows before it buds, that's wood energy. And then wood feeds fire. And the fire energy is what the horse represents. So it lives by its heart. It doesn't really it doesn't live by its mind as much. It does, but like in its mind and everything, it's this hot, burning, heart, ventricle, blood pumping, arterial energy. So, how the Chinese describe it is like from 0 to 12, you're wood energy, and it's spring. And you're just kind of innocent and springing. From 12 to 24, we express this like erotic, like sometimes confusing, hormonal, mammal, primal, teenager energy. And the horse kind of keeps that vital, virile, teenage horniness and sort of like that romantic streak. They kind of keep it all their lives. And that is coming through this Libra, which wants to look refined and graceful and to be well respected by other people. It's like this horny dude or girl. I've known a Libra horse in my life who's just fucking, I was a teenager when I knew her, and like she super expressed this like confident but like deep, this down to fuck sort of energy, and it was just super attractive in her and confident, and it comes through the refined grace of Libra not wanting to be too animal about it. Like it's like Libra wants to show that they're down to fuck and they've got that sort of thing, but they keep their chin up about it, and so, it's whatever. It's human nature. What can I say? But then when you get with them, they're super good to rock and roll, especially the horse variety, for sure. Now, in relationships, Aries, Cancer, or Capricorn rats are very much not recommended for this combination. Capricorn goats are pretty much a no-go as well. The Gemini, Leo, Sagittarius, or Aquarius tiger are fine selections in the area of romance. Additional good picks are a Gemini or Leo goat. The positive choices continue with Sagittarius and Aquarius dogs. Dog and tiger tend to be very good combinations for the horse in general, and so does the goat. The goat and horse are secret best friends. The reason dog and horse and tiger get along together is because they're in the fire triad. They're in a triangle to each other, just like how in the West, there's triangles relating to the same element energy. Cancer, Pisces, and Scorpio are all water. In the same way, tiger, horse, and dog are all in the fire triad, and they can relate with each other well. This combination, family life, the subtitle here is family life for the Libra horse. This combination is the type who has automatic this and computerized that in the home and on the grounds. The sprinklers go on automatically, as do the lights. The house has flowers arranged to perfection in exactly the right places. Friends are welcome, but they must behave and dress appropriately. The Libra horse absolutely must have luxury at home, as well as every gadget known to humankind. The house is a showplace for friends to come and be impressed. The sofa is so luxurious that people might be afraid to sit on it. The curtains and all other trappings are nothing but the finest. Now, livelihood. Libra horses' primary motivation at work is to get ahead, and they're not particularly good at compromising unless it is self-serving. They are the paradigm of a dress-for-success person. If they play their cards right, they do, in most cases, succeed at a high level. The Libra horse is excellent at logic and communication. The result is that they can convince people of almost anything. That is fortunate because they tend to be fond of arguing. Obvious jobs that are suitable for them are those that utilize verbal abilities and clear thinking. Yep, that makes sense to me. That utilize verbal abilities and clear thinking, like salesmen, salespeople, diplomats, politicians, ambassadors, lawyers. Now. We got one more big one to read, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just gonna peek and see. Nice to see you, Nay West. I'm glad you're here with me. My good friend Nay West often hangs out with me and listens to these monologues. I do love Libras. They're chill. I mean, I'm Leo rising, so anything that's very heavily Libra can be like blah to me because I'm just this sun guy that likes to express this is what's on my mind. And then Libra can often be like, you're a little intense. And I'm like, so? Yeah, that's, the relationship the sun has with Venus. Although I think, anyway, that's a thought. But I do love them. You can find good in any sign. Now, this next reading comes from the New Astrology. It's a synthesis of the Chinese and Western by Suzanne White. I highly recommend it. This book's really good. And as I always like to say, when you're reading this, I think that Susan White, the author here, she meets people in her life who exemplify the Leo horse. She's probably met a Leo horse in her life. She's read texts on it, and she's brought the symbols together in her mind. And I think that she just often riffs off of the people that she's met with this combination. But there's so much more to those combinations than just the Libra and horse. She could have met a Libra horse who expresses a certain way, but they could have been like a Cancer rising with the moon in like Aries, and just someone who is just very much has a different vibe from the standalone qualities of the symbols of Libra and Horse. So usually she's very good. This is a good reading. I wouldn't be reading it with you if it wasn't. But keep in mind that there's no strict scripture that has ever talked about Libra and Horse coming together in history. All we have is people leaving texts describing what they think the symbols might be like when they come together in the personality. There's no strict way of reading it. So when you read these texts, just keep it with a grain of salt. Just consider that if you see something in here that doesn't quite jive with your personality, it could be something in your chart that makes you not relate with it, but it also could be something in the reading that's not exactly universal. Just keep those in mind. But we'll never know. We'll never be able to get this data and information if we don't read the texts that we've got and discuss them and comment on them. This is a reading of the Libra horse. The keyword for Libra is I balance, stabilize, steady. The keyword for horse is I demand. So this is like the heart of an organization. Every good organization could really use someone who's demanding about the balance needed on all levels and all checks. And especially if the Libra is so, like, if this is a person with like Venus and Pisces, then they are a perfect conduit for a business because they are willing to be not the highest up. You know, if you've got a Libra Sun horse whose Venus is in Pisces, they will be happy with any role as long as they can serve and be ergonomical about the nature of a business. So much so, like this can be an extremely strong person to any business if they've got that well-placed Venus, you know, either in Pisces or in the 4th house. Because then they have an intuitive sense that they can be willing to put themselves lower, to put themselves in a role which is not like the leader. That way they can be demanding. They know their energy and nature coming through is as someone who through the horse can be demanding. So if they get to the center of a business, an organization, or anything like that, and they're seeing the money coming in, pouring in from other whatever regards, whatever ways, they know how the boss is, but maybe they intuit that the boss needs a certain strand of data, even if the boss needs to be convinced that there's a certain direction that the whole, you know, the HR can't, like these are good HR people who can go on an HR campaign and say, our company needs to learn about sexual abuse in the workplace, you know, and we demand it, that we need it because it'll make our workers feel much better. These are the kind of people. Libra horse is the kind of person that can figure that out, you know, who can be a person in like as like a servant of the company who's willing to like go and talk to the boss about what they think about this, but then go and talk to another business associate about like what they think is best for the company, and then go and talk to the promotional manager and consider all of what's most priority, and then go to the boss and say, you've got all these needs that we need to do in the company, and this is what I think, that I'm going to convince you that this is the top priority. And the Libra would, if they don't put their ego about it, if they're not thinking, I want to be I guess, you know, if they want to be the best advisor for the boss, then that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's as long as there's no egotism competition involved, because then that's when the Libra Sun starts to falter. Coming through the demanding horse will want to get above the other competing boss advisors, you know. I digress. But I think you see kind of where I'm getting at there. For now, let's let the book air out and expand what we've just talked about. Libra horse. For a horse character, This person born in gracious Libra will be genteel and dignified. Horses are sometimes rebellious and hard-headed. Libra practically never is. Libra wants peace and knows how to go after equilibrium. In this sign, Libra climbs onto the horse's back and hangs on for dear life until she has tamed that selfish stallion into a very civilized person. The nobility, the noblesse oblige of the horse really comes through in Libra. When joined to Libra, the horse personality gets to keep many of his worldly goods. He retains full interest in elegance and style. The horse likes to be very stylish. I would know. Or at least I tried to be stylish. Whether or not it comes off great is another question. The horse in this person hangs on tight to popularity and has the market cornered on idealism. Libra lends the horse refined taste. Moreover, in hitching his wagon to Libra, the horse doesn't have to give up one iota of his fanciness. You know how horses like to do what they want when they want. Well, Libra doesn't mind that. In fact, Libra encourages capriciousness, as the Libra in this person knows that with her well-developed sense of measure, the horse will never totally buck the system. This blend of signs often hatches excellent talkers. The horse has a commanding presence. He or she will captivate audiences with poise and self-assuredness. Libra adds charm and a touch of the aesthetic to this popular image. The Libra-born horse can be an impressive performer. Horses born in Libra often experience the phenomenon of unusual destiny. This obviously has to do with their gift for being in the right place at the right time, especially depending on their Jupiter and Venus dignity and strength in the chart. The Libra horse is very mobile and is concerned with self-advancement. The combination of good luck and a nose for connections makes this person a fine candidate for sudden, unexpected fame or fortune. No horse character is ever lazy, but Libra horses will be slightly less hectic than their counterparts of the other horses. They know how to relax and slow down for the sake of gain or improvement, and are not so preoccupied with the pragmatic as are most horses. The Libra horse is an exalted type of person whose opinions and stances are fiery and willful. You will not forget meeting up with one. And, as they are extremely sociable, you may very well encounter one this very evening. Parties and gatherings, receptions and meetings play a large role in this person's life. The sun in Libra may even try to build itself by hosting parties. You know, it might get an apartment, dress it up to the nines with fancy ass shit, even if it's like a small apartment, make it like sociable ready, and then bring all their business contacts together, wine and dine them, provide like food that, you know, at first maybe the Libra can't really afford, but they're just like, it'll work itself out. Then the boss might come along and say, you threw a great party that night. You know, like, why don't you sit up with the boys on the next, like, why don't you get a raise or something? I don't know, you know. They might promote them from the luck of this wink wink networking that the Libra kind of tends to be good at greasing the wheel for. The Libra horse is, above all, a convincing person. They are persuasive and eloquent. They are not very compassionate or sentimental per se, but they can be carried away by the fervor of an ideal. There is poetry in the soul of this effective human being, and it shows on their dignified, tasteful surface. They can be unscrupulous for self-interest's sake, and if they're trying to talk you into one of their plans, they will never take no for an answer. If you are saying no, then you must just not understand how good this deal is. Let me break it down for you. You know? That's the Libra horse. The horse born in Libra seeks justice for all and favor for himself. They usually achieve autonomy and are not above creating a scandal to get it. The Libra horse is an oddball and often invents or performs some outrageous deed to shock more conventional souls. But never mind. This person does not suffer from self-doubt, but goes straight for the jugular, ever so gently. Elegantly is actually the word. Ever so elegantly. Tra-la-la-la-la. Now, the Libra horse in love. Passion is more important than tenderness in the life of a Libra horse. He or she will be attracted by ideals in another person, or by some characteristic outside of appearance, like money, for example, convenience, Libra horses are not quite so rapacious as most Libras, but they nonetheless like to take a room by storm. They are sensuous and given to flirting. Loving someone born in Libra horse can present complications. This person is something of an island unto him or herself. They are not too dependent on the image of a relationship and will seek in a partner the capacity for self-sacrifice that Libra horse lacks. Because they're not that self-sacrificing, so they're hoping that their partner will be. If you love one of these creatures, get ready to spend a good part of your time combing that luxuriant mane and rubbing down your beautiful steed. The Libra horse is a primper and a preener. Could definitely see that in the horse. I do like to be preened, what can I say? Now, home and family for the Libra horse. Here, the Libra horse will really go for broke. This native wants a handsome home atmosphere where he or she can receive platoons of friends and associates. The sofas will be velvet and the drapes heavy and probably burgundy or soft brown. The Libra horse is a luxury lover extraordinaire. They will also be sure to own every last device to enhance the household's appearance. The lights will all be on dimmer switches and the flowers freshly arranged by the person who comes in for just that purpose. Libra horse spares no expense when it comes to impressing his or her audience. They deplore vulgarity and do not take kindly to guests who show up in tattered blue jeans. Flares the thing. The horse born in Libra may feel some competition from children. Yeah, so this is home and family, right? So this is them being a parent. The horse born in Libra may feel some competition from children. He or she will require help in raising kids, as the Libra horse is frequently out or too busy doing something personal to care for them immediately. Actually, I think the average Libra horse gets on best with his or her kids when the kids start being grown-ups. Then, when the petulant childishness has begun to fade, the child will become more acceptable to the tasteful Libra horse. There will be a distance between this character and his or her offspring. Yeah, I could see. I was inclined to say maybe mostly for the men, and it's true. The women, of course, a mother, pretty much no matter what, is going to be really deeply more connected to the kids than a male Libra horse. But even with a woman, a woman Libra horse, I could still see. I get it. I get what this is getting at. It's the horse thing. Greener pastures. Let me be free. Don't make me have to sit and change this kid's diaper. As a child, this person will show great promise and impress adults with his apparent ease in acquiring social graces. There is a rebelliousness in the young Libra-born horse that wanes when the child matures and sees that tempestuousness will not get her where she wants to go. This kid can be funny and quirky, a sort of odd man out with his cronies. Yet the Libra horse will always be well liked and admired. No matter what you do as his parent, this child will go his or her own way. Now, a profession. As this person is both argumentative and persuasive, the Libra horse will excel at all jobs requiring verbal skill and conviction. Moreover, the Libra horse is adamantly well-dressed and presents a fine image to the world. His or her weakness will stem from an unwillingness to play the game for the sake of keeping the peace. Okay, so his or her weakness will stem from an unwillingness to play the game for the sake of keeping the peace. You know, it's like they're not much for like competition that gets really, like, they love to compete, especially if they got a good Mars. These people will love a fair game. But when it comes to someone really getting emotionally upset about the fact that the Libra won, they're like, oh, sorry, man, look, you take the trophy. I don't want it. I don't want it. I didn't want this. Libra horses care less about peace than they do about their own advancement, though, ultimately. They will only be cooperative if compromise in no way impedes their progress. It's kind of... Yeah, I guess it's a two-way thing. I want to make sure that I didn't contradict myself there. But what I said is true. But ultimately, these people are definitely aware of their own advancement. And truly, they will only be cooperative with other people, even if, like, they've got this thing going on where they're trying to play a fair game and someone's getting all upset about it, and they're, like, getting frustrated by the fact that this person's being a sore loser or whatever. In truth, if this game is for honor, they're not going to care that much about it. But if we're talking about, like, who's going to get the better job from the boss, like, who's the boss like more, the Libra is probably going to be like, sorry if you're a sore loser, buddy, but I'm going to win that. I'm going to get that. And that's a good thing because, you know, they can be catering to the crowd often in their lives. You know, they should go for the gold when it comes to their internal personal self. They might not always be inclined to, and so the horse here is really helping the Libra, who can be a little bit too self-defeating. Depending on the situation, this person can either shine at dispensing authority or at taking orders. The only prerequisite, as far as the Libra horse is concerned, is personal interest. If being the boss gets Libra horse to the top, then they'll gladly accept an executive post. Otherwise, you can keep your lofty titles. All the Libra horse really wants from a job is upward mobility. And, of course, money. It sounds selfish to other people who might be listening, but you and I, as you are a Libra horse, we both know that, the Chinese are accepting of the nature of money. It's a flow of water, and it's got a stream. And if you know how the flow of the water goes, you can go upstream. And those who don't go upstream are just not paying attention to the current of the river. Careers accessible to Libra horses are city planner, landscape architect, gossip columnist, critic, merchant, publicist, actor, restaurant owner, decorator, and teacher. Some famous Libra horses include Dmitry Shostakovich. That's a cool name. Dmitry Shostakovich, Rita Hayworth, and Penny Marshall. Like I said, I'm the horse, and if you want to see what the horse character like, this is it. But, of course, this is coming through Scorpio and Leo rising. I got Leo rising, Scorpio sun, so this is the horse with that sort of like, don't give a fuck, I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say. But it's coming through goofy Scorpio, just really projecting on my little video here, so that's like a factor. But I mean, one of these days, maybe I'll just like do a like a Dustin Cormier. Like, this is what I am. This is the goat part of me, and this is what I'm like here. I'm a psychologist. I'm interested in all this, and here's the month of the boar, and it's like this really concentrated service, and maybe I could talk about all these parts of my chart. The horse in me is on the day pillar, so that's more like when I'm dealing with other people. I have this heart-centered horse thing where I really like, when I'm dealing with people, I prefer that they just don't bullshit me. Just tell me what you're feeling. I'm going to tell you what I'm feeling, and then let's just deal with the conversation from there, That's like very much horse energy. So, in any case, ladies and gentlemen, this has been an episode of How to Rock a Campfire. My friend Nay West has been hanging out and watching the video, so I just want to see if she had any other comments. For anybody else who might have been watching, thank you so much for being a part of my show and to come into my show and for watching. Marathon. Yeah, cool. Glad to hear that, Nay West. Oh, okay. Your sister is a Scorpio horse. She drives me nuts, and chaos is just her thing. I wonder if you mean the Libra horse that you've described here, Nay West. High maintenance and very selfish. Anybody has the capacity to be selfish. In fact, I would say that these people, like, I know what you mean. I know a Libra horse, and they're very concerned with looking good in the social sphere, but they're noble, these people. And they're unapologetic about being interested in climbing to high heights, to looking like a well-recognizable person and a star, and high maintenance, yep. Yeah, they can be. And I know what you mean by selfish. But when you know one, they invite you to consider this aspect of like everybody ought to do the best that they can. It's like it's a noblesse oblige, and it's a vibe that's like welcoming because they don't hate on you necessarily if you're not like that, although they can, I don't know. I'm a bit vulgar and I'm just sort of straight to the point, and I can be vulgar in the way that a Libra horse doesn't like, and sometimes they'll think about the things I say and just, like, just, that's just a bit too brutish for me or whatever, but they'll still be your friend. The horse in this combination can really be a good and welcoming personality, because the horse can really get along with anybody. It's the Libra here that likes to be refined and elegant and to climb high places, and that's something that they try to do. But the horse here, I think, can connect at the heart level with anybody and understand and sympathize with them. But feel free. It's a welcome comment, Nay West. Don't think like I'm not running to try to defend what you're saying. Of course, you know, I'm welcome for you to give me your honest opinion on what you think about the whole thing. I'm always just going to revert and say that, again, anybody can be cool. Just depends on all the figures in their chart and their childhood psychology and what makes them what they are. But thank you, Nay West, for your comment and also for being here. I appreciate it. It's always nice to, even you're my one viewer for this whole video. It's always nice to have somebody with me instead of me just blabbering into the abyss. Although eventually it comes through on YouTube. So for all those who, thank you, Nay West. Thank you for your comments. For all of you on YouTube watching at home, I'm Dustin Cormier for How to Rock Spirit. I really love doing these videos for you guys. The next one, I don't know when it'll be. I've been doing a lot of these videos and I'm starting to get sick of it. I'm a horse, you know. I do the thing until I get sick of it. It's like, okay, I got another field that I got to go and prance around in. Then once I get sick of that field, I'm going to come back here with you guys and talk about more videos. Next one coming up is going to be the Year of the Goat, coming through the Mercury ruled signs of Virgo and Gemini. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.